Hey guys, welcome back to the show. For those of you who are watching this on Spotify right now and YouTube, you're probably noticing the background looks a little different, and that's because I'm in a new state, new home, new state, and everything. So the fancy camera stuff and in that co-working space, I'm not recording this right now, and I apologize for missing an episode last week. It's because we had a very short notice move. My girlfriend got offered a awesome opportunity, and so we relocated to Colorado, and that was to make a long story short. That was about a week. We were the idea of us possibly relocating within a snap of a finger was very real. From We were thinking about moving to Austin, Texas in January, at the end of January, to are we actually moving to Colorado instead? Not in 3 months when our lease is up, but this week, like within the next week or two, hypothetically. And long story short, things happened. Flew out to Colorado, had an interview. It all went really well. She got offered the job, and then now we were dealt with the task of how fast can you get down here, so then she can start working. And so that was a whole 4 or 5 day thing of hurry up and pack, close everything up, and move everything across 3 different states to come out here. And now we're here. We landed in Colorado. Today is Sunday, November 2nd. So you watching this the day this is released, and I guess you can watch this at future time points. Technically, you could be watching this 100 years in the future right now, which would be wild if somebody were to be watching this, like a descendant of mine, of my bloodline, could be watching this 100 years from now, since everything lives on the internet, which is mental to even conceptualize. But this comes out on November 3rd, which is tomorrow, Monday. And so it was about a week ago on a Saturday where the moving process started. And we arrived on Tuesday, got settled in. And it really wasn't until yesterday or the day before that things really settled down. But that's why I missed the episode of releasing last week when I had like a 10-week long stretch of really good posting. So that's why the background looks different. And those of you who are not watching this, you cannot tell the difference, except maybe from the audio a bit. But I'm recording in the new apartment, and I don't have that co-working space anymore. They do have it here, debating on if I want to get it as well, but trying out recording some of these at home. And yeah, so we moved. We relocated, which is super mental to even think about. And this episode, just to preface, this might be a little chaotic. I'm just going to go everywhere and I'm just going to freestyle it. But this move is so meaningful to me. For anybody else who might relate to this, I have this fixed mindset, scarcity mindset, or if those are the right words you want to use, is I've been so stuck in the Midwest. So I was born in California, Orange County, California, Anaheim, Huntington Beach, that area. Lived there till I was about 5 or 6, and then moved to Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. Don't ask why. Probably just because it was cheaper, as having immigrant parents, and just lived all over the place in Nebraska. And I've been stuck there all the way until after my master's. I think I was 25, 24, something like that. And then moved to Kansas City as the next big step and to get to build my life. But I was still stuck in the Midwest. And I've tried to move out of the Midwest so many times, and it just hasn't worked because of financial reasons and or because I was in school, things like that. And I was starting to build this narrative in my mind that I'm going to be stuck in the Midwest forever. And moving is so meaningful to me because I feel like I'm breaking through a barrier. I'm physically kind of like if you have a dog, how they just try to burrow their head through whatever and they just go like, hey. If you saw the video, you can just burrow their heads and they don't even care. Like as soon as you crack the door open, they'll just like shove their face through. I've been trying to get myself out to the Midwest into bigger cities and new areas, and to show myself that I can do it. It is possible. I'm not stuck here. I'm not destined to be here forever. And I don't have to just embody the identity of a person that lives here and all that comes with it. And it's a little more complex and more nuanced of that for me. But moving here was so meaningful. meaningful, and the change and the feeling of it, and knowing that I'm ending my 20s because I'm 29 years old right now, and I turn 30 next month on December 14th, which is also the tail end of the year. This year has been huge for me, from quitting my job, from getting out of debt, from getting into a PhD program, from starting entrepreneurship on my own now. So many big things. I'm closing out my 29th year and about to be stepping up to enter my 30th year. And just the fact that I was able to move is just so meaningful, and it's just so huge. And so I just wanted to share that for anybody else who feels stuck, that it's not possible for you. And I won't lie that I have been very scared here, knowing that I am completely restarting. No one here knows who I am. I'm restarting all my in-person clients. I'm restarting everything. I only probably know 4 or 5 phases here, and it's scary, but also super exciting. And so we have relocated, and this is so wild. And to think that I'll be here for a hot second, because it's not like I'm just here to try it out, test the water for a little bit. It's more so I'm actually going to be here for a hot, fat minute, because my girlfriend's work is based out of here in Colorado. And so we about to be here for a fat minute. And it's just so wild for me to think of all the different identities and where I was a year ago to where I am today, my mindset, my viewpoint on the world, my own beliefs, and all my own BS, and trying to challenge that, all those BS thoughts and perceptions, and trying to do all that. And I just think it's wild. I think it's wild. It's a good reminder that at any moment you can change. And I saw this video the other day that comes to this, is when you're born, you look like your parents, but when you die, you look like your decisions. Sit with that one. When you're born, you look like your parents, but when you die, you look like your decisions, which is wild. And it's wild to think that when you're born, everybody has a set of advantages and disadvantages. But I will take the angle, a hot take of who cares? Of course, it's not meant to unvalidate you or dismiss your experiences or devalue them. Nothing like that. But more so, what's done is done. What do you do next? Because your life is your responsibility. Where it goes, you have to live with it. And at any moment, you can start making decisions that are different. They don't have to be large decisions. There's decisions, and you can zoom in and zoom out as much as you need to. It's just like when you're going on a road trip and you're driving. You are on cruise control and you know the direction you're going. But if you even just turn the steering wheel, just slightly tilting it a couple of degrees over, the first couple seconds you're only just steering off a bit, and it's not that big a difference. But if you steer it that tiny little bit and you stay on course with that, after a mile, you start to diverge pretty far. Give it a decade. Huge. And so that's what I want to bring back to this, the whole idea of decisions, is at any moment you can create that agency in yourself to be anything new, do anything different. Anything is possible. Anything is possible, because if you can overthink all the reasons why things can't work out, you can most definitely overthink all the reasons why it can work out. And I never thought I would be here right now. This was not on my bingo card a year ago. Things can happen so fast. But the only way that this happened right now is because all of those series of micro tiny moments and decisions that both my girlfriend and I made a year ago to where we are now led up to this moment. Maybe you have goals for yourself, you have a identity, a version of you, a life you want to live, set of skills, accomplishments, all these experiences and memories and stories you want to be able to have and be able to tell one day, they might be multi-month, multi-year goals. And the only way those things will come into fruition is if you start now, if you start making those decisions now. Because maybe everybody starts the game on different levels. Everybody starts at various levels and with advantages and disadvantages, and maybe there's certain privileges or disadvantages that you have that either enables you or disables you or just makes things tougher, whatever. Everybody has a little something, and some more than others. I'm not going to argue that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because it almost becomes a asymmetrical argument, because if there's one outlier, if one person can do it that looks like you, that came from where you came from, that had whatever, then who to say that you can't do the same thing? And I always circle back to the thought of, if a crackhead can find crack, why can't you make something out of yourself? Why can't you change your life? You changed your life before. Why can't you do it again? And the only thing that's stopping you is you. And that comes with your decisions, because maybe you don't have all the decisions. Maybe you don't have all the capital or all the resources in the world to make the decisions you want now. But maybe to get there, you got to start playing the chessboard and zooming out and being very intentional and strategic starting now. It could be as small as you need to make it to be. This is how you can make it as small as possible here. Ask yourself questions here. This is in line with motivational interviewing. And what motivational interviewing is, when I'm coaching clients, is instead of me just sounding like a dictator or like telling somebody what to do and hoping that they follow it, and if they don't follow it, I'm just like, you're a bad client. You are uncoachable. You just don't have willpower discipline. That's not how people work. People have psychology. People are people. And it's like programming a computer. Tell it what to do in black and white, binary. But when you're coaching people, it's something along the lines of, you can coach yourself, ask yourself questions. It's a lot of listening to yourself and guiding yourself and asking questions. Or me to a client here is, ask yourself, if you feel so low in the world, if you feel like crawling up into a fetal position and that's your posture, and you just want to curl away and scroll and numb yourself from everything, ask yourself, can you put your phone down? Yes. Can you roll onto your back? Yes. Can you sit up? Yes. Can you swing your legs off the bed? Can you stand up? Can you grab that glass of water? Can you bring that glass to your mouth? Can you take a sip? Can you put it back down? Can you stand up? Can you walk towards the door? Can you put on your boots, your coat, clothes? Can you open the door? Can you swing 1 foot over, and then your left, and then your right, and now you're outside? Can you stand there for a moment and take a breath and close your eyes and let the sun shine your face? Boom. That's, if you need to break behaviors down to that micro, like cellular level, do that. And it's not silly, because how is that silly? It's, everyone goes through stuff, and sometimes that stuff is super automatic behavior that you can just get on with it, and you are just focusing on bigger rocks. And sometimes you're in those states where you have to break the problem down to that micro cellular level to be able to move forward. And that's okay, because it's a continuum, and you can toggle into whatever stages you are. And to circle this point back, is your life is made up of your own decisions, and you get to decide how you want to live this life. You get to decide who you want to become, the experiences you want to experience, the memories you want to create, and the stories that you want to be able to tell one day. And that will that's dependent on you and your willingness to take action, your willingness to cut whatever BS you have with yourself and finding a way to solve whatever problems there it is in front of you, whatever friction or resistance you're experiencing, and how to unblock yourself to move forward. And if you want to look more into it, it's motivational interviewing and all of those decisions. Because a year ago, I was at a job where I hated. I was I was at a hospital job, getting underpaid, working with patients and population that can care less about me. I was becoming calloused over this. I was losing creativity. I was going home angry. I was becoming resentful of others, people noticing their success. I was becoming resentful, and I was unhappy and sad and angry and thought that this was it. I started creating that belief that this is it. This is all I'm ever going to amount to, and I'm never going to become more or get to experience more or be able to tell a better story for myself. But those voices and that belief was still there, but I continued to keep making those tiny micro decisions and actions to get out of that. And it's not just a black and white. It was more like a dial. It was more like a dial, and whatever effort, I just try to show up as much as I can. And I know you can do the same thing. And you don't have to be perfect, but just try not to skip. It's all a practice. And so if I can do it, then who to say you can't do it yourself? Yeah. Yeah. And so, like I said, this was a little bit of a freestyle here. I just wanted to share that big life update that we moved. I'm so excited for this. Huge. Like, I am just, oh boy. Massive. Massive, massive, massive. And I'm so excited for what this life is going to bring living up here. And also, this new apartment is so sick in the area. And my dog is so much happier. She's a pit bull. And this is just awesome. And I see mountains. Every 5 minutes, I'm looking over and I'm like, ooh, it's a mountain. 5 times a day. My girlfriend's probably getting so sick of it, but I think it's so fun. And just everything that's possible. And this is something that I'm trying to remind myself is I'm choosing a very hard road right here. Relocating again to a whole new area, doing a PhD, building a business, doing this content thing, communicating, and not saying this to like put myself on a pedestal, but understanding that this is the path I am embarking on, and it's going to come with a lot of tests. And I'm just excited. And just the fact that the biggest fight was to move out of the Midwest was huge. And I'm just grateful and proud. It's a mixture of both. I got lucky, but I also I moved the pieces on the board to set myself up to get here. It may have took me almost 29 years. No, it's almost 30 years because I am 29. It may have taken this long, but I just keep going. Just keep going, because if you stop trying, you can guarantee failure. You can guarantee that you're going to fail if you just stop trying. If you just give up. If you give up, you know with absolute certainty that you will not make it forward. But if you keep going, you give yourself a shot. And giving yourself a shot, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Anyways, this is where I'm going to conclude this. Thank you for listening. If you haven't yet, subscribe. And coaching and the fitness app, everything underneath here. Let me know your thoughts. And I can't wait to talk to you guys again next week. All right. Bye.